It doesn't seem to matter which 49ers players are getting hurt, as long as Christian McCaffrey is getting the ball.
Well, what's that then?
I've heard worse.
What are you going to do, bleed on me? I'm invincible!
McCaffrey put up another outstanding performance on Sunday Night Football last week, logging 201 scrimmage yards and a pair of touchdowns in the 2010 win over the Atlanta Falcons. That dominant performance helped him earn NFC Offensive Player of the Week, but more importantly kept the 49ers at the top of the NFC West with a 5-2 record. McCaffrey continues to be force-fed in order to keep the 49ers afloat, and at this point that's absolutely essential given the number of injuries the 49ers are currently dealing with. San Francisco's top two defensive players are out for the year in Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, while it's unclear on a weekly basis which quarterback will be healthy enough to play between Brock Purdy and Mac Jones. Just listen to an injury report from a week ago that Kyle Shanahan had to list off all of the players and their practice availability.
All right, injuries for today. We got Yetur knee, hamstring will be out. Ricky knee will be out. Sky Moore ankle will be out. Trent Williams vet day. Christian vet day. Jordan Watkins calf limited. Brock Purdy toe limited. Mac Jones knee oblique limited. Pooney knee limited. Kevin Givens pec limited. Juwan Jennings ankle rib shoulder limited. Renardo Green neck limited. CJ West thumb limited. George Kittle hamstring limited. Clea Davis hand limited. Michael Williams thumb. Oh wait, those guys are full. Go ahead.
Despite all of those injuries that the 49ers are dealing with, McCaffrey continues to be the engine that drives this 49ers offense, and that's coming off a year where he suffered bilateral Achilles tendonitis.
I've got soft tissue, damn it. There's no way I don't have soft tissue, damn it.
As it currently stands, McCaffrey leads the NFL with both 185 touches and 981 scrimmage yards in just 7 games. Not only does he lead the NFL in carries, but he's also third in the league in receptions behind only Jamar Chase and Puka Nacua. Only 3 players in NFL history have ever reached 1,000 yards receiving and rushing in a single season, and yet McCaffrey is pacing for that milestone despite already doing so during his time with the Carolina Panthers. This kind of historic season cannot be overlooked, especially with the 49ers still in the heart of playoff contention. So let's dive into the film on McCaffrey from Sunday night's win to give you a better picture of just how much he's doing for this 49ers offense in today's episode of Best Available. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and can follow us on socials at Best Available YT. If you want to suggest a future video, consider becoming a member. I'll leave details to that in the episode description. This video is brought to you by my grandpa, who is one of McCaffrey's biggest fans and has been begging me to do a video on him for weeks. So, Grandpa, shout out to you for this one. Why don't we go ahead and dive into the film on Run CMC? I'm convinced that McCaffrey was built in a lab to be like the perfect Kyle Shanahan running back. And of course, we're going to see some outside zone, but what I appreciate, and you're going to see it throughout this video, is all of the different ways they get McCaffrey the ball and just the different run concepts. So we'll see a few of those. But of course, early in the game, we're going to start with an outside zone staple of a Shanahan system. Outside zone is just, long reach blocks trying to get reached across to defenders. And then, the running back's design, wide footwork before getting the ball. And then you're looking for a natural cutback lane or just some kind of hole. It's just a staple of a Shanahan offense. And we're going to get that to start this play. So we've got that. And what McCaffrey does so special is just his ability to find those cutback lanes and then reverse or change direction again. He has that foot speed and quickness that he can just cut on a dime multiple times in a given play. Great example of this. So you're trying to press and feel here. The average running back on an outside zone might be like, hey, maybe I'll just take this up. But you can see this linebacker, can really make an issue here, especially if this D lineman is doing good enough job of holding this offensive lineman. So if this guy can't climb in time, this gap not only is not going to be there, but you might get hit pretty hard. So great job by McCaffrey to feel that. He feels this combo block right here, really displacing this defensive lineman. So he sees that, cuts back. And then what I love is the cut right back off of it, change direction a second time to, maximize that yardage. That's a really impressive run. So many outside zone running backs, they have a really impressive one cut ability to make 2 cuts like that to, instead of cutting back and then just continuing to go along this path. That ability to understand where the open space is and keep following this blocker off the cutback. It's one of those traits that, again, makes McCaffrey perfect for an outside zone scheme. But man, it's also just what makes him an elite special running back. Another really fun concept for McCaffrey to get going. We're going to have a kick out of the end by the fullback. Yes, fullbacks. Love getting to talk fullbacks on this channel. There's like 3 of them left in the NFL, and I think Kyle Juszczyk continues to be the gold standard. And then we're also going to have 77 pull and get into space. So really fun concept here. Really enjoy this. It's not a counter per se because, the footwork for McCaffrey doesn't tell me counter, but it is some kind of gap scheme, almost like a backside power or something. But we're going to run this. And then what I love from McCaffrey, you got to stay patient with these and hit the correct hole, especially on gap scheme when you have pullers. If you try to bounce stuff out or spill it out, it can be really dicey. So this is a really nice job for McCaffrey to stay patient with it. And he reads this block really well as we run this again. I'll pause it. He gets a really good feel for Farrell, the bad tight end 2 on 49ers, is coming across the formation to pick up a linebacker. And he is staying patient, waiting for that to set up, and then playing off of this block based on how this linebacker reacts. So if his helmet goes here, we're cutting out here. If his helmet goes here, we're cutting out this way. Great vision and patience, and then burst to just get north-south, make a defender miss, take off. Everything about this play is really well drawn up. But again, it's just the patience and then burst from McCaffrey that helps make this a really successful play instead of a solid one. And you can just run so many diverse concepts when McCaffrey is so comfortable with just so many different types of runs and has that patience, vision, burst, everything combined to make him such a successful running back. Because it's a lot going on right here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 bodies all blocking in a pretty confined space. But to wait till we'll let this all develop, that's what really unlocks, a nice, really productive play for McCaffrey. We'll talk about another example of this later in the video, but Kyle Shanahan really loves to do some really, funky stuff with his alignments. So not typically you see, a wing, tight end, fullback with this kind of alignment. Usually they're square to the line of scrimmage, right? We've got this weird angle set here, and we're going to have a fun crack toss concept out of this. So Mac Jones is going to bring Juszczyk back in under center, almost like an I formation. More of a weak wing. We got a tight end, strong side. He is going to go weak wing. So we're bringing him in motion and then bringing him right back out just to keep the defense guessing on a crack toss. You see Jawan Jennings comes from outside of the screen to crack this block. So Jennings seals this. Trent Williams is climbing. And then we've got Juszczyk as a lead blocker. So a fun little crack toss concept with that motion. And it's blocked up well enough. Everyone's flat-footed from the motion that we have enough of a seal. And then a nice job by McCaffrey to read where this block is, where he's winning, and cut off of it. And then here we go. Pass the sticks first down. Really fun concept. Shanahan's run game. I know it's what he was born to be, but I feel like a lot of the mainstream attention is on his ability to do whatever with whatever quarterback. A big reason for that is just their run game is so diverse and fun and creative. And plays like this are a great example. Like crack toss, which is what this is called, is nothing new. But to do it with this motion and just keep the defense guessing and then have, a fullback like Juszczyk and a running back like McCaffrey is where you can, spring so many successful run plays like this one. Another really interesting concept from Shanahan. This feels like it layers a couple of things that we've just looked at, right? We've got that weird alignment from Juszczyk. He's going to go back in motion, and we're going to get that same look, right? We're going to get that weak wing, and we're going to have Kittle on the, the strong side. But we're getting a different kind of play here. So instead of this crack toss, we're getting that kind of what looked a little bit like counter with 77. If you remember, he was pulling on this side. Instead, we're going to have everyone down block here. And then we're going to have Kittle come across the formation. Juszczyk's going to come back and kick out. So we're layering 2 of the plays we've already talked about with that eye candy. Like the defense has already seen a look like this. And so we're running something different. So this time we're going to have Juszczyk kick out. And then we're going to have Kittle climb. Really fun way this is drawn up. But what I really wanted to show here, not even seeing it on the screen yet, all of this is so well drawn up, right? Because the 49ers are so disciplined as a team in the run game and run so many different concepts and, everyone blocks well. But that has to include wide receivers. especially on condensed formations where all the players on the offense are really close together. You need wide receivers capable of blocking. I'm a Packers fan. Matt LaFleur never shuts up about his wide receivers being able to block. I think Shanahan, McVay, these guys are all in the same boat with this. You see Kendrick Bourne here. It's not the prettiest block, but the effort's got to be there, and it's what springs this play, along with everything being blocked up well. So if you watch Bourne here, just his effort to push the defender out of the way and then re-engage creates another big seal off this. There's so many guys I could highlight here that, block this up well. But when a wide receiver is also contributing to the run game, it's what springs really successful runs. That is one of my biggest philosophies of when I coached wide receivers. You have to be hell-bent on your wide receivers giving effort and blocking. I don't care that if it's not always pretty, but if the effort's there, if it's not here, and it's just like he's putting hands on this guy, he's filling this lane. This is maybe a 3-4 yard gain. But instead, just by pushing him and then re-engaging, we are getting like a 10, 11, 12 yards in a really successful play. So I love Shanahan for, using a couple concepts we've already seen in this game and layering them together. But also just the fact that, he's got wide receivers that, aren't household names really locked in to run the damn ball. It's a hard job to fill cutback lanes. Too many guys at younger levels of football feel very entitled, like I'm more athletic than everyone. I can just bounce everything outside. And then by the time they're in high school, college, that athleticism catches up. Everyone else has developed. They have a really hard time feeling it. But so you have to be, very decisive and strategic of when you're going to bounce something out. And I think this is a good example. You're really hopeful as a running back when you don't see any linebacker help at that second level, that if this is blocked up, all we need is a big lane and, we have all this green grass, right? So we've got a split zone concept where Kittle starts over here. We're leaving an end man unblocked for him to come across the formation and block. So there should be a natural cutback lane here, right? So we're looking for a hole. Maybe it's here, and then we bounce out off Kittle's block. That gets closed up pretty quick. There's just two wides of bases. Maybe we're jumping through that. We're losing balance. Jesse Bates is a hell of a safety. He's crashing down. So we got to stay patient here. That hole's locked up. It's split zone, so then we're looking cutback. The feel here is what I'm impressed with, because this defender is crashing inside. We feel that. So instead of taking our normal natural cutback lane created by split zone, we're just bouncing it entirely off. And then apologies there. And then we're making a defender miss in space, and then we're just taking off north-south. These are just the little off-script things that McCaffrey is so damn good at as well. Understanding where his help is, where his blockers are, where is my last case resort kind of thing. Because, again, it's an admirable job by Atlanta to block this up. When you have this mugged up look with these linebackers standing up and you don't have any linebacker help back here, this gets blocked up correctly. It can be an explosive play. So really gap sound. I actually like especially on this side, look at where the hands and eyes are of all of these defenders playing very gap sound. I think they're doing a great job here. So credit to the Falcons defense. It's just a better off-script play by McCaffrey, and then that agility to make a defender miss in space for a big play. We have not talked about McCaffrey's receiving ability yet, which is probably too late in this video. There weren't a ton of, really exciting plays, but I think this is a great example of showing McCaffrey's awareness in off-script situations as a pass catcher. It's one of the big reasons why he's pacing to be the first player to ever have multiple 1,000-yard rushing and receiving seasons. So he's initially just staying here in pass pro, right? He's keeping his eyes. We got this drop back. We're just trying to make sure that he clearly does not have a route on this play. You'll have a delayed release, and if you have no one to block, you'll go out on a route. He doesn't have anyone to block. He's staying in there to help however he can. Then Mac Jones, just starts feeling the pressure on his right and starts rolling out. So McCaffrey starts following the blockers, realizes Mac Jones is escaping, and there's not a lot of outlets. And just his instincts to feel like, all right, he's escaping the pocket. He needs an outlet. Let me just, instead of blocking, just drift upfield. This guy isn't prepared for it. He's been seeing McCaffrey block this whole time, so he's crashing down. Mac Jones feels that. And that's just a hell of an effort for McCaffrey to get right next to the end zone. I really enjoyed this play. It's my favorite thing about, the special players. They really do understand that not everything in football is on a playbook or a spreadsheet or anything like that. Like sometimes you just have to go off script and make a damn play. And I think some of the most special players are capable of doing that without constantly doing it, just knowing when it's appropriate. And clearly, I don't know if it gets more appropriate than this with your backup quarterback scrambling, just looking for some kind of option. So really heads up play for McCaffrey. Pretty sure I mentioned earlier in this video that when it comes to gap scheme, ideally you're just looking to hit that gap with the polars. It's usually just typically a straight downhill thing. McCaffrey has such good vision that he knows when to bail on something like that. And we just have down block, down block, down block with this pulling guard into space. We should have a play right here, right? So we have that. I think maybe the tight end's a little late reacting to this linebacker. We're going to have a cut, but we're also going to have 37, who looks like he's going to have a free release on this, right? The play should be going here. And, coaches don't really like on gap scheme when a running back, goes off script. But somehow he reads the tiniest sliver here. This defender's winning and cutting up field. We've got a helmet, on this side of this defender. And it creates just the smallest cutback lane, but gap scheme is not meant for cutback lanes. They are meant to be downhill, decisive, aggressive runs. That's where zone scheme comes in, a little more feel, improvisation. But McCaffrey to feel that gap scheme cutback and then cut out, make a defender miss, pick up some extra yards. It's why he's one of the best running backs in football. Not many guys, it's one of those, again, off-script things. This doesn't look like it's going to be good. Even if we hit this gap correctly, feels like this D lineman's got control of this gap. He can disengage. We've got, a safety crashing downhill. There's just a lot here that's not pretty. Think if he takes this correctly, either this guy's wrapping him up or number 31 is, filling the alley and, making a tackle. His field of cutback on this is just some special stuff that, only a handful of guys I think are quote unquote allowed to do this because he just has, some pretty rare vision at the position. I really enjoy how Shanahan utilizes play action, especially just how the way he pushes linebackers. You're going to see this motion across the formation, right? Watch how the linebackers and 31, the safety, bump out to adjust to that, right? So we've got him gaining width. We're changing assignments essentially with that motion. And we're, running play action as the motion's happening to, have the defender still thinking as the ball's being snapped. So we're running a play fake. This linebacker is now picking up Kittle, right? And then this guy, in theory, should have McCaffrey, but it's play action. His feet are just caught in mud here. There's so much going on. He's just kind of hesitant. And McCaffrey has this easy release to just that poor linebacker has no shot. By bumping the coverage of the linebackers, it makes this backside linebacker's job so much harder to pick up McCaffrey and his assignment in the passing game. And that play action just has him hesitating. He has a losing angle. And we get a nice chunk play off play action with McCaffrey still getting the ball. It's what I love about 49ers play action is McCaffrey is such a weapon and can be utilized in the passing game. There's still effective routes they can use. And I wouldn't be surprised if, Shanahan had seen something on film like, hey, the Falcons react to this type of motion by bumping the linebackers as so. And then that's going to create, pressure and a bad alignment. Because just even pre-snap, this linebacker is in trouble based off of this route. There's just so much space between them. Yeah, he's caught in mud a little bit. No fault of his own, though. I just think this is a really well drawn up play by Shanahan to get such a dynamic, versatile running back in open space. I love this play because this is just some stupid stuff, right? We've got a motion of McCaffrey out of the backfield, more of a shift. We've got two guys moving at once, got to make sure they're set. But, at receiver, you're supposed to be like, commit if you're on or off the line. You can see it on this top. He's on, he's off. It's usually by half a yard. You see these like exit motions with the running back where he'll just like go out this way until the ball is snapped. But the 49ers are totally content with just McCaffrey lining up this far back. I don't know what it does to defenses. This is something this is a shortcoming of mine. I need to do some research on, the thought process behind this, but I can kind of feel why, because I don't think they expect him to be a vertical threat on this play. And I'll show you why I'm saying that. We've got a safety here, linebacker here, and another linebacker here. I want you to pay attention to these defenders. We're going to have this little drag route or crosser route from Kittle. And obviously he's an all-pro. He's someone you really got to pay attention to, especially in the passing game. This linebacker's not as worried. He's like, why is McCaffrey playing from so much depth? That's just what my thought process is. So you can see he pretty quickly starts committing his hips. He is fully turned. They are trying to bracket Kittle right here, right? Corral him. So we've got leverage on this side of him and on this side of him. Makes that a tight window throw. Now, if I can move my screen a little bit, here we go. What you'll pay attention to now, suddenly we have this safety right here that's going to be one-on-one with McCaffrey. I think McCaffrey does a very nice job here. He is going to push this route towards the safety out to try and bump that safety out as much as possible. You can see that he's drifting ever so slightly here, just to get him to push out wide to create a throwing window here. He's going to kick back inside. We are so worried as this linebacker about Kittle. I mean, there's 3 guys essentially on Kittle at this point, right? We have that little pyramid corral. It opens up the slot for McCaffrey. It's a really fun concept, just really a way to push defenses. I don't know if this is a blown assignment by number 55 right here, but man, I know that's a really tough one to defend, especially when you're not, in my opinion, I feel like a defense would really struggle with how to correctly pick up a running back that's just split out in that weird wide slot, really deep far back. But a fun concept, really well drawn up by the 49ers, and understanding of how to push leveraged here. You know, it's not that dramatic, but push there, then bend inside to get behind this linebacker. Really fun play here. Last one of the day. This is just pure effort and a great one to end on. We got another one of those funky alignments with use check. We're going to motion him inside, but then we're just going standard I formation, and we are going to run ISO with a little pull. We're just trying to, create some kind of gap, go downhill for McCaffrey. Well blocked up by the Falcons. Like, they cover up this play very well, but this is just pure effort from the 49ers and McCaffrey. I think if you can see here, you can see him right here. He is backwards. He is driving his legs backwards. That effort combined with the 49ers offensive line pushing the pile, that is phenomenal play strength, effort, everything you want from a franchise running back. And I love that we showed all these, fluid, finesse plays, all the elusiveness. But to finish on a play like this, where it's just pure will and effort, hard-nosed running near the goal line to get back into the end zone. That's my favorite play from the game. Great effort, especially in a really close contest. I think the final score is 20-10. This was the game-sealing touchdown, and just a phenomenal effort by McCaffrey and the 49ers O-line to move that pile, carry him into the end zone. Shout out to Denny, Grandpa Denny, for recommending the video. I had so much fun watching this one. It's easy to understand why someone is just absolutely in love with McCaffrey. He is, such a dynamic, unique running back, and, especially after thinking his career might be on the downturn last season with the bilateral Achilles tendonitis. Just sounds like a horrible, horrible injury. For him to come back and play at the level he is right now is just one of my favorite stories in football this season. So we'll be back next week. Programming note, we'll only have 2 episodes next week. I will be out of town, but we will make sure to get, 2 of those recorded so you guys can watch them. Thank you so much again. If you've made it this far, please subscribe. Consider becoming a member. If you like film this much and you've watched this whole video, it's a great way to support the channel and help us keep going. So we'll be back next week. Thank you so much for watching.